When people think of Canada, they often assume that the maple leaf is our official emblem. While the maple leaf is displayed proudly on Canada's flag, you might be surprised to find that our emblem is actually the beaver. You might think of the beaver as Canada's largest rodent or nature's engineer. But actually, it was one of the main reasons for European exploration into the northern and western regions that would eventually form a large part of Canada. And all because of fashion. In the 17th century, everyone in Europe wanted a beaver on their head. To wear as a hat, that is. After the long hairs were removed from the beaver pelt, the shorter hairs close to the skin were used to produce a soft felt that was durable, waterproof, and could be fashioned into hats of various shapes. The beaver population in Europe was almost extinct, but the hats were in such high demand that new sources of pelts were needed. Canada provided an excellent source. The French already had established a fur trade along the southern waterways. In 1670, a group of adventurers petitioned the King of England to grant them monopoly over the fur trade in Canada's north. The Royal Charter issued by Charles II created Rupert's Land, defined as all the land drained by rivers flowing into Hudson's Bay. It also established the Hudson's Bay Company, which played a significant role in the development of Canada. The Hudson's Bay Company quickly established outposts and developed a mutually beneficial trade with the Aboriginal people. Aboriginal traders supplied the beaver pelts, and in exchange, the European traders provided useful and valuable manufactured goods that were not otherwise available. The First Nations were skilled traders. It was common practice for them to shop around for the best deals between individual Hudson's Bay Company trading posts. This led to the company developing the Standard of Trade, a price document used by all trading posts. In the 19th century, a type of currency was developed, a made beaver token. The tokens represented the estimated value of a prime beaver pelt ready for trade. They were given out to represent credit that a trader had with the company. All trade goods had their value expressed in relation to the made beaver. Aboriginal traders received goods they needed in exchange for their beaver pelts. If they did not spend the full value of the pelts they brought, they received made beaver tokens for the difference that could be exchanged for goods at a later time. Over time, the company moved inland to find new sources of supply and broaden its reach. As it did so, HBC established more outposts to conduct the trading. Where beaver were not abundant, the company's trade was built on whatever animal was locally valuable. On the Pacific coast, this was the salmon, and in the far north, it was the Arctic fox. After 1870, European immigrants began to settle the West, part of the former Rupert's Land. This expansion into new lands contributed to the formation of Canada. The trade in beaver pelts for making hats continued until the 1850s, when silk hats became a more popular choice. Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, led this change in fashion. Beaver pelts were also valued for their use in manufacturing fur coats. Pelts continued to be traded by HBC in the fur business until 1987. By 1929, Canada's beaver population had been reduced to such an extent that it was nearing extinction in some areas. This prompted Jimmy Watt, the manager at Rupert House, and his wife Maud to establish the first beaver preserve in 1930. By 1944, HBC beaver sanctuaries covered 110,000 square kilometers. Today, the Canadian beaver is thriving, just like the country that it represents.